Hello, hi, I am Brent Woods with the INCOCHAIN team, and just like to tell you about our idea, in advance of the EtherCamp hackathon. INCOCHAIN is creating smart contracts for completely paperless and mobile world trade, and we're codifying existing Inco terms or international commercial terms that clearly define the obligations and the risks of both buyers and the sellers. And we're creating a dashboard system in a decentralized fashion. The problem that exists, there's nothing new to world trade or mercantilism or colonialism or neo-colonialism, but I think the problem that we are having is the entire system. There's a lot of inequality in the world, and there's also just, lack of infrastructure. And again, this is not new to the world. So what is new is the fact that smart contracts is here, as is blockchain technology. In coming up with this today, I would like to point out there are problems. The rainforests are being exploited, child labor and people are being exploited. There is modern day slavery. Commodities and banking systems are being manipulated. The existence of the ivory trade and endangered species points to a much greater problem. And these are some pretty difficult problems to solve, although we believe that with blockchain technology that we can at least even the playing field and bring some transparency where it's needed and allow that privacy where it's required. How do we come up with the solutions that we're proposing? We're creating a decentralized dashboard system for smart contracts that are really between the buyers and the sellers, and this will help, build that infrastructure and the capabilities through this system of smart contracts. And we believe it's going to bring positive international relations that will bring increased profits, new business development, new lanes of trade, and ultimately just a more equal playing field. Some of the solutions are going to include efficiencies, not only from being completely paperless, but in terms of freeing up customer service. Imagine tracking and tracing where somebody's calling up a toll-free number and trying to track their parcels. We believe that we can come up with the INCOCHAIN block explorer that's going to be able to track and trace, and that will even include documents. We're also looking at creating a lifetime cost calculator that's going to show in lifetime total cost calculator between hard currencies and cryptocurrencies. It's going to take a little bit of work, but we feel this is important because people are going to have options and they can arrive at their actual costs. And that also means these greater efficiencies are going to be more efficient for their cooperatives, their business, their trade associations, and ultimately their communities. And yet they're going to have the ability to see in live time in terms of total cost of ownership. They might even be able to negotiate better terms through the Inco terms. So the benefit to addressing the problem is the efficiencies are across several sectors, including law, insurance, transportation, and that includes air, ocean, trucking, and rail. It entails customs, banking, accounting, and yet it can be utilized by the buyer and seller, the importer and exporter ultimately. But at the end of the day, professional services, including the airline, the freight forwarder, the custom broker, the lawyer, the insurance agent, or the bank, they're going to be able to utilize the dashboard system as well. Let me tell you a little bit about the team. I've been working with Marcos Torres-Gran, who's out of Zug, Switzerland, and I came across him through the Slack channels. I believe it was Colony, and also EtherCamp, Slack. And it's just one of those things that we just started kicking around the ideas of smart contract. And let you know a little bit about Marcos. He's an expert in SAP and systems integration. He's also involved with a little bit of smart contract writing, but he's also involved with the financial services, and that includes banking and insurance. My background, I've worked for Banzas Corporation, which was a large international freight forwarding company. So I've been involved with air freight, ocean freight, custom house brokerage, selling of financial services, including letters of credit and banking. I come from an industry where there are fees involved with exchanging the hard currencies. There are fees for the letters of credit, and even breaking down like ocean freight, you see charges of like a 6.5% currency adjustment factor for ocean freight, because at the end of the day, the ocean liner wants to get paid. They don't want to have to deal with the volatility of the hard currency, so they have a 6.5% currency adjustment factor that's going to get passed on to the consumer at some point or another. So, my background is selling these services, and I've also sold commodities, including metals, lumber products, engineered lumber. I also sold fuel and oil. So when I met Marcos, we started kicking around the ideas of completely paperless smart contracts. And since the beginning of summer, we were working out some of the feasibilities and the capabilities of smart contracts, and literally breaking down into fine-grained sand the most basic of Inco terms, which are really, they clearly define the obligations of and risks of the buyer and seller. So what we started looking at is codifying existing standards in world trade, which are contracts between the buyers and the sellers, and codifying these. So that's kind of how we've been coming up with this INCOCHAIN. So we've been challenging ourselves, and we decided that we might take it to the next level and enter this hackathon. So what we want to do is we hope to achieve with this hackathon, we'd like to achieve the acknowledgement of the overall opportunity that INCOCHAIN brings to the multi-trillion-dollar industry of world trade. That encompasses from all of the costs of goods in a container, be it ocean freight or on a pallet or in the air or in the back of a truck for that matter. This will include the total cost of transportation. It includes the maritime law or the international law, or as we move into technology, some of the technological laws that are out there. We hope to exemplify the cross-industry efficiencies that INCOCHAIN will bring across several sectors. And again, they include law, banking, financial services, cargo insurance, transportation, warehousing, and really the overall economy. So what we want to do is we want to impress the judges, and we want to get their votes, because we hope to explain our prototypes for INCOCHAIN, and that includes the block explorer for tracking and tracing, and it also includes the documents, because we're moving into completely paperless territory here. INCOCHAIN lifetime cost calculator, we hope to show in live time the total cost of both hard currencies versus cryptocurrency. And we hope to do this in a prototype fashion. We also hope to have a prototype of existing Inco terms, and we're working on a short stack instead of all 11 of them at once. We're looking to break down and have a prototype available, at least bring this forward to the judges that we're working on our example of the Smart X Works, which is completely paperless, but it clearly defines the obligation of both the buyer and the seller. In this case, the X Works means a manufacturing facility has their product ready, and the actual importer is responsible for basically getting it out of their door and handling all of the paperwork, and that's basically what the Smart Xworks example is going to be. We hope to impress the judges by the realization that this project can logically be done and will create many smart contracting jobs for all of the world's trade. This is a multi-trillion-dollar market annually, and the time is now to implement smart contracts and to create and to create market share immediately and to formulate partnerships and alliances. The efficiencies that INCOCHAIN will bring equals profit and opportunity, and we hope that you will bring smart contracts to market simply by being interested and help us out with the vote. We are looking at our expectations, and we realize that it's a long-term project, one that must be funded, but we are seeking partnerships and alliances. And says anything that you'd like to say to the community. We would like to say that INCOCHAIN hopes to bring not only economic development worldwide, but we also hope to create thousands of smart contract writing jobs, higher paying jobs, as our efficiencies across several sectors are going to dictate that. We hope to create real equal opportunity to this community, because if we're creating completely paperless smart contracts, the coding efforts will require top talent and top pay. But this is kind of where we get into some new territory as far as being a startup, and it's a lot of development, and it's just one of those things that it's going to require funding in order to pay the developers. So to wrap this up, we're hoping to build INCOCHAIN. We hope to impress. We hope to garnish interest and form some friendships and alliances along the way. So if you'll consider us, please leave some HackerGold to support us. I know that we could use a budget to keep this project going. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about INCOCHAIN, but we are building a dashboard system that's going to cross over into new territory, and we're going to do it with blockchain smart contracts. So we certainly appreciate your interest in INCOCHAIN.